Welcome. Welcome.
To the joy of coding.
Hello, welcome to episode 253 of The Joy of Coding. I didn't actually hear the sounds. I think you did, looking at the audio output. I think you got it. I have a feeling, hang on, I have to reroute some sound stuff. And while I do that, hello, and welcome to episode 253 of The Joy of Coding. It's so good to see you. My name's Mike Conley. We're going to be hacking on some Firefoxy stuff today. Glad to have you here. If you're watching live or if you're watching the recording, I'm just glad you're here. So yes, today, going to be hacking on some Firefox stuff, but first let me just quickly reroute. Oh, I see what happened. Yeah. And now I'll try playing the sound. That works. Okay. We're going to be hacking on some Firefox stuff. Let's get right to it. Let me share my screen. Here we go. Right, so today is June 23rd, 2021, episode 253 of the series. And a reminder, no plan survives breakfast. I thought, for example, that the sounds would work right out the gate, and they did for you, I think, but they didn't for me. And that is something I dealt with just on the fly just now, and that's the sort of thing that will probably happen during the stream. It's very loosey-goosey. This is not one of your fancy, polished, edited streams. We're capturing software development in the raw, and it's gonna be rough, but that's exactly the idea here. You're gonna get to see unpolished, warts and all, how I do my job. And that's the first thing. The second thing, the episode guide that we're looking at, the agenda that we're looking at is something that you have access to. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out the video description for a link. If you're watching this on Air Mozilla, it'll be in the details section. And if you're watching this on Twitch, I should try and make sure to always have the link in my clipboard. And I don't every time, but here we go. This is the link. I'm going to drop it in the Twitch chat. Here it is. Agenda. And hopefully my Twitch bot is mirroring that to the Twitch chat. So there you go, everybody. There's your agenda. And that's the first thing. The second thing is that we have an episode guide. I haven't plugged the episode guide for a few episodes, and I should. So the episode guide is completely viewer-driven. This is something that viewers just like you it was like someone's idea from I think it was Sam Foster's idea, who had been watching the stream. I think he had watched a separate stream from someone named Casey Muratori, who's doing like Handmade Hero and has an episode guide, and that's also viewer driven. And so that's what the episode guide is in our case as well. It is a here. If you go follow the link in the agenda, it will take you to this big list of episodes. And if you click on any of these episodes, you'll get to see like what we worked on. What were the topics I covered? Maybe the link to the Matrix channel, and like a link to how to rate the episode and what bug I worked on, the notes associated with that bug, etc., etc. So it's a pretty handy resource, especially if you're trying to search and try and find an episode about, what was that episode where Mike touched the bookmarks panel or something. You can use this. And it's completely, like I said, viewer-driven. You can submit a pull request to this repository because this is hosted on GitHub. So if you go to GitHub, you have an account, security vulnerabilities, you can submit a pull request. And if you're not sure how to do that, there's a contributing guide here that will tell you exactly what you need to do in order to fork the repository, pull down the repository, and you can send in episode guide corrections or addenda, or maybe you want to expand on stuff for episodes in the past, maybe a pull request for episode 100 because I made a mistake, or maybe there's like up-to-date information now, or things have changed. And in fact, there are a number of things in my review queue, and maybe we can go through that as a start to this episode. So let's see what we've got. We've got 2 episodes, 250 and 251 in the queue, and we've also got this bump from the GitHub Dependabot. So let's start with episode 250. New episode, happy 250. Thank you, Smurf D. Prolific, and I'd say certainly the most prolific contributor to the episode guide. Very valued contributions from Smurf D. So let's take a quick peek here. So episode 250 was on May 19th, 2021. That's correct. And all this metadata is used to, place the episode guide in the right spot and to format it correctly. And then the links look right. May 19th, episode 250. That looks all good. Happy 250. Yeah, this looks basically like a verbatim copy of what I wrote in the agenda, which is fine. Watch as the first episode, The Joy of Coding. Yeah, this is what happened. There's a typo here. I'm going to fix this typo. Happened back then. And answers questions. Yes, I answered some questions. I watched the very first episode of The Joy of Coding in episode 250. It was very illuminating. I got to, see how things have changed. And things have changed somewhat, and in some ways they haven't changed at all. The link to rate the episodes, etc., etc. So this looks great. Fix small typo. I will commit that change. And then I will merge this in. This is perfect. Thank you, Smurf D. And there's a lol. There is a typo in my commit message. The word typo is misspelled. I said fix small type. All right, merge episode 250. I love it. Thank you, Smurf D. And then the other episode was episode 251. Let's take a look at what's happening here. That was on June 9th. Let's take a double check here. Yes, June 9th, episode 251 was there. Those links look correct. Yeah, still streaming from home. Will be for the foreseeable future. We put some sentence casing. We landed some sentence casing stuff. If you check, the app menu is now in sentence case. Very nice. And we started to look into this issue. It turns out that I think both of these ended up being need infos, so we weren't able to progress very much. And it was like, rate this episode. And I put an arrow in here because I really wanted people to rate the episode. And I still do. All right, well, that looks great. I'm going to approve and merge that. And just like that, new episode guides are added. Thank you, Smurf D, the best. And then this last is a security. I don't mind showing you this. Normally, I wouldn't want to show you that there was a security vulnerability, but this is a security vulnerability in one of the utilities that's in this repository that I used a couple of years ago. I was using the Mozilla Deep Speech project to try and do automatic machine translation or machine transcription, generating transcripts for the episodes. And it was kind of a manual process. It was my first foray into using deep speech and trying to, convert audio into text. And it worked reasonably well, but I haven't done it in a while. Anyway, this tool needs to have its URL lib library bumped, the requirement, and that's fine. Sure, let's do it. Okay, so all the pull requests here are dealt with. Let's go and figure out what we're doing today in Firefox land, because that was all just episode guide meta stuff. So what are we doing in Firefox land? I was hoping we could work on some more cleanup bugs for the retheme that shipped in Firefox in version 89. So there's this meta bug of just technical debt we want to burn down, cleanups, stuff that hit the cutting room floor that, it didn't make it to the 89 release, and we were okay letting it slip, but now we want to get to it. So that's what this meta bug tries to track. And by itself, looking at this list is pretty tricky. You have to kind of hover over each one in order to get the summary. And so what I like to do is I like to view the dependency tree, and that shows you all of the open bugs that are blocking this, and then I can view it as a bug list. I do this all the time. And this is much better, especially because I can sort by assignee and find something that's unassigned, because I don't want to do work that other people are doing. And this looked really easy, but that was what we were working on that couple episodes ago, and it's still blocked on a need info, so I don't think we're going to progress on that today. I know for a fact that this meta bug is being worked on by one of our outreachy interns, so yeah, there's a bunch of bugs blocking this that someone else is working on, so we won't look at that. Rename small medium class to small medium button. What's that? This is mainly to be consistent with Ghost Button, Danger Button, and to prevent any conflicts with potential small medium classes defined in other files in the future. It would be also worth using these small medium classes in about add-ons and other places overriding the default padding. Otherwise, I think these classes should just be deleted if they remain unused. So there's a class called small and medium for buttons. Let's see if we can find what NTIM is talking about. I see. So there's an associated bug that NTIM pointed to, which probably introduced these. This was 4 months ago. So let's take a look. This is the patch that landed, and was there a small or medium class added? Yes, button medium, button small. Okay. So let's see if that's this like the way it is these days. So we're going to look inside this file, commoninc.css. Like, do you see these classes? Button.medium, button.small. So that's what NTIM's talking about. Let's see if we can find this file, and we're going to look for button.small. So they're still here. Button medium and button small. And so what NTIM is suggesting is rename them to be small, medium, button. Just in case we end up like using a different or we end up having a class called small or medium that I guess we don't want to apply to anything. Like we want this just to apply to buttons. So I think he's wanting us to be a little more consistent and being more precise with the class name. Okay. What uses these classes? So this is for common.inc.css. This style sheet is what powers a lot of the built-in. Vadamon writes, "Hey Mike, I want to say thanks for streaming this. It is the first stream I've actually caught and gotta go soon, but hopefully I'll have better luck next time. Hey Vadamon, thank you for watching the stream. I appreciate every one of my viewers and people who interact with me in the Twitch chat and who are nice. You're the greatest. So thanks for watching. I'm happy to have you. Let's see here. So where were they used in this patch? Like I was saying, common.inc.css, it powers the styles of a lot of what we call our in-content pages. What are in-content pages? In-content pages are in-content user interfaces, rather. So Firefox, will allow you to browse websites that are loaded over the network, but it will also load websites, I'm putting that in air quotes, that are hosted internally. Things like settings. So this is about preferences. This is a local document. This is not something we pull over the internet. We pull this out of where Firefox's UI code is, and we render it. It's an HTML document, and it's styled with CSS, and it has elevated privileges, obviously, because it's changing your settings. But ultimately, this is a document that has a style sheet. And we have a number of these internal pages, like about debugging is another one. And you notice that all of them have kind of similar styles, similar text styles, similar colors. What's another one? About add-ons. You can see my add-ons list here. I have a bunch of things that I need to, I don't know why these are all showing this. I think it's because I've disabled signing or something because I want to install some development things. Anyways, the styles here are also, they're very similar, and they're all inheriting from this common inc CSS file. So that's the first piece of information. So the second thing I want to know is who amongst all of our in-content pages. Oh, and it's not just our in-content pages. This style sheet is also being used for some of our modals, sub-dialog modals. So for example, this clear recent history dialog is actually also using the style sheet, which is very interesting. Okay, so who's using these classes? Well, in the original patch, I think what we need to do is we need to either find the markup or any JavaScript that's adding that class. It doesn't look like there was actually anything in here that was using the class. I only see changes to CSS files. I don't see any changes in the markup, and there's no JavaScript that's using that class. So is there another bug that maybe this is wait a second. Now, did that introduce or did it just modify small and medium? Okay. Well, let's see if we can find anything that was blocked by this. Define button styles in a shared sheet. Consolidate, focus, outline. Remove in content, outline, focus, blocks. Implement new modal dialogue styling. Maybe that's it. So I'm just going to search around for small, medium. Nope. Like if they were being used, I would have expected them to be listed in some markup here. And if this might end up being a goose hunt or oh, I got a hit there, but that's for comments and unrelated stuff. This might end up being a wild goose chase. How do I remember that floaty? I think that might be it. Yeah, I don't think I'm finding it. ID info row. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to look using SearchFox. Let's look for small inside of XHTML. See if we can find people, anyone that's using like small classes, not inside of test files, but inside any of our like browser code inside of .xhtml. These are all tests in layout. The other place I would look is toolkit. The places where these documents generally live are toolkit or browser as the top level directory. So no, baseline ref test, no. These are tests, and tests. So no good. What about instead of .xhtml, .html? So there's icon small, class small for the paragraph. Here's a test. Oh boy. And what about toolkit? Whoops, whoopsie daisy, didn't mean it. I didn't realize I had that highlighted. Okay, toolkit. No? Is it possible that no one's using these classes? Why were they added? Okay, who's using ghost button? Maybe if we hunt around there, we can get a clue as to where these are being used. So about logins, for example, is using ghost button. Okay, is there anyone in here using small or medium? No. That was an HTML document. Here's one. Button class equals. How about a regex search? This might be interesting. Class equals, and then we're gonna do. Let's see. How does SearchFox want a regular expression search? Will it accept this? Yes, it looks like it will. Now we want a space there. This is all for div. And I think what we also want is it to be a button, but I think this is a good start. Okay, I'm starting to think no one uses this class. I think these are dead classes. It would be also worth using these small medium classes in about add-ons and other places overriding the default padding. Otherwise, I think those classes should just be deleted if they remain unused. For non-greedy search, question mark small dot question mark, but I don't know if this regex accepts this expression, says Vatamon. Well, let's find out. What were we saying? Question mark class question mark small dot question mark. Looks like it. Looks like that is a valid query. Is there anything in here for a button? No. Nothing for medium either. I don't think these classes are being used. So we have two choices. Whenever you've got a class, I think this was an instance of us kind of preemptively introducing some classes when we, we expected to use them and then we never used them. This is maybe what's happening here. Oh, dot. Oh, you said dot star question mark. I think it's giving me the same kind of result. Okay. So whenever this was introduced, what were they working on? They were working on about logins. And what the small and medium styles do is they override the in-content button padding, height, and font size. So is there anywhere else where we actually do this? Minimum padding. Button medium, button small. I think I'm tempted to just, I don't actually think these classes are being used. I'm tempted to just remove them unless we want to do the work of like having the buttons all be these components that like, unless we want to turn this bug into one where we define the MR1 themed buttons in a way that's shared across the UI along with these size modes. So I'm gonna put that comment in. I've put my thought there. I don't think there's a way to move this forward without knowing more about what we want to do here. I mean, the easy thing to do is just to remove the classes, but there might be value in kind of refactoring some things and having a shared button definition, not just in common, but across the entire UI. Because the idea is that like the buttons that we show here inside of this UI should use the same styling as these buttons, and they're somewhat similar, but they actually have completely different definitions. The dialog one's inside of common ink.css, and the door hanger one's is done elsewhere. All right, let's find something else that's more actionable. What's a good juicy bug? Clean up the special profiler button margin rule. I had a specific CSS rule to fix margin of the profile button when it's placed in the overflow menu, but it isn't clear why this one button should have been behaving differently in the first place, unlike the others. Fixing the bug, which were obviously special, we should investigate and clean up this special case if possible. Okay, we can look at that. So let's build Let's build and let's take a look at the workaround that Molly added. And then I reviewed. I can't even remember doing this. But it looks like, oh, this is for the stop reload button. This is not a workaround. That was one that we kind of expected to fix stop reload, and then profiler button element. Wait, what? Oh, here it is. Yeah, why isn't profiler button? Why do we need profiler button here? When it's placed in the overflow menu, but it isn't clear why this one button should have been behaving differently in the first place. Unlike the others fixed in that bug, which were obviously more special, we should investigate and clean up the special case if possible. Okay, let's see if it's possible. We're just gonna finish building here. The profiler button is this button up here, and what's special about it is it's actually like a split button. You know, there are two parts to it. There's the toggle here, and then there's this drop down to control parts of the profiler here. And what Molly fixed was its representation whenever it goes into the overflow menu, this thing. And it's supposed to look like this whenever you do that. And then it looks like this whenever it comes out of the overflow menu. So let's see why we still need this. Margin. The margins were set on arrow panel menu item margin. We can remove this special case and we'll see what happens. So go to mock run. We're just going to poke around. We'll see if there's something here to do. So to get that button, you have to go to profiler.firefox.com and then click on this link. What that does is it adds the button to your toolbar. It doesn't install an add-on. This used to be an add-on, but it's built in now. But this page is special. It's got special permissions that allow it to tell the browser, hey, show the button now. And so that's showed the button. And now we can see the collapsing effect as the window gets smaller. It shows like this. So let's try getting rid of that rule and see what happens. So that rule I think should still be in here. Let's find out. Where would it be? In the tree. It's inside of something called panelui.inc.css, which when built is actually in a file just called panelui.css. So inc just means it's an included file. So we're going to find panelui in here. I wish there was a way to filter this list. I think there's supposed to be, but there isn't, and it's not in any order I can see. There's a lot of repetition in here. Panel UI. So the other way of getting there, the other way of getting to the panel style sheet is with the inspector. Yeah, that was fruitless. So what we'll do is we'll disable pop-up auto hide, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually bring up the overflow panel and then inspect it. And from here we can probably find the rule. Toolbar button, and it probably, yeah, right here. This is the rule. So we're going to go over here and we are going to remove these two rules that Molly added and see what it looks like. So notice it like extends outwards. So the question is, how come it does that? And why do we need these special rules in order to make it look proper? So we can figure this out. What I'll do is I'll get rid of those rules, and then we'll take a look at this button and look at its layout characteristics. And we can see that it has no margin set around it. And the reason for that, it looks like, is because There's no margin set on it. It doesn't have a margin set on it. And that's distinct from other kinds of buttons like here, let's close it. Let's put this in here, save to pocket. Save to pocket has a margin. Why? Where's that margin coming from? Right? It has a margin. It has a margin of 8 and a padding of 8, but the margin's what's interesting. And where's the margin coming from? The margin is coming from here. This rule. Because it's a toolbar button 1. And this button contains a toolbar button 1, but is not a toolbar button 1. Should this... Hang on. What happens if I say toolbar button 1? So that really pads it out. It's like a button in a button, and I don't want that. But these other classes seem relevant. Toolbar item combined buttons. I think that's probably what we want to do here. We want to say whenever something here, let's see if there's any place else where we like use this margin. I think we can be a little more general. So I think that's what we're going to actually do here is instead of calling out the profiler button specifically, what we're going to do is we're going to say, hang on, I lost my spot there. I lost my train of thought. Where is... It's like save to pocket has this toolbar button, panel view toolbar button 1. What we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, over here, if you are a panel view and a combined toolbar item combined buttons. So panel view toolbar button combined items, or combined buttons. Is that what it's called? Toolbar button combined buttons. Toolbar item combined buttons. Shouldn't toolbar item combined button have the margin property? Good question. Let's take a look. Like maybe that's the problem. Let's take a look at the class. I mean, yes, except whenever it's in the toolbar, because these combined buttons can be inside the toolbar as well. It's only when we're in a panel that we want to give it this different appearance. Subview button. Toolbar in any panel. Yo, my man. What's up, 1100111101? Quick, everybody, what number is that in decimal? Who cut my hair? Why, does my hair look bad? I'm wearing a headset. I'm wearing a headset and I'm balding, if that matters. But I've been getting home haircuts. They're not bad. They're free. So there you go. So I wonder if maybe like, is this the right spot to put this rule? Because like that does it. That'll do it. And I got a feeling, Well, hang on. Edit controls. I wonder if some of these are now, if we're in the palette or in the menu panel. Widget overflow menu, edit controls, and zoom controls. Do edit controls and zoom controls also have the combined buttons? Because I actually think they do. So hold up. Let us customize the toolbar and put our edit controls and the zoom controls in the toolbar here. And then the idea is, what happens whenever these go into the overflow? So they have that margin as expected. Do they have the toolbar button combined button? They do. So you know what? We can actually get rid of, I think these is place palette, edit controls. I think we can get rid of this and this. Hey, I think that's the right balance. Because we still need to do this. Wrapper zoom. So the wrapper. Right. Okay. So the reason that the wrapper rules are in here is for whenever the tools are inside this special mode, when they're wrapped, and whenever you can put them in here. Like if I were to get rid of these two rules now, yeah, their margins would all be off. But I think this is the right balance. We've simplified it somewhat, and we made it a little more generic, but it will work for any toolbar item combined buttons inside of a panel view, which I think is the right call. So that's what I'm going to do. So we can actually, well, we're going to open up, what was this rule? Block. It was here inside of panel UI inc.css. And we're going to go to 381. And what we'll do is we're going to get rid of this rule and this rule, and we're going to put this rule in instead. And just like that, we've simplified it. And that's all the bug was, I think, trying to do, was to just simplify things. Can you say Mac is, what is ducking? I don't know what you're talking about, 1100111101. Please be more articulate. Thank you. So let's take a look here again. So those margins look right. And we'll check out the original, which was the profiler button. That looks good. Those margins all look right. Huh, okay, I think we did it. Let's put it up for review. We're gonna say bug. Well, first of all, I'm gonna assign the bug to myself. And I'll say bug such and such. Get rid of ID specific rules, margin rules for toolbar. Replace ID specific margin rules for combined toolbar buttons for one that's more generic. That is more generic. And we'll have Molly review it. Take a quick peek at the patch again. I love it. Yep. All right. Submit it. Get it up for review. Maybe we can even land it later today. Next. Oh, before I do away with this, I'm gonna create a note. Even though I don't have anything to write about it, I like to have a note per bug that I'm working on. Just it helps me keep track of where everything is. And I'll say it's blocked on review. Blocked on review. All right, let's find another one. Ooh, yeah. Remove subview button iconic class from markup from menus and panels where Proton removes or suppresses them. So I originally did this work. And this was like a workaround so that we could quickly and easily switch between having icons and not having icons in the like it was the making it easy to switch between having the new theme enabled and disabled. And now that the theme is enabled by default, we can remove this class from a bunch of places where we have a bunch of like sort of hacky script to remove the class from the markup. So we can start looking into this now. What time is it? 1:45. We might be able to get a patch up in time for this. Let's see. What's a good sound effect to get us motivated in here? Motivation.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's do it. So what I'm talking about here are a number of places where we added this class. I called out a couple right here, where we are in script removing subview button iconic. So what I want to do is see where else we remove this class. There are four files rather, where we do this, 5 places in total. And what I'm going to do is for each of these places, I'm going to find where they apply and then manually remove the class from the actual markup rather than doing it from script dynamically now. So let's start with a simple one here. Let's start with the one that I originally did in the library. And it looks like this is the only handler for something called online, or the only action when the library shows. So we can actually remove this entire infrastructure. So let's go into panel UI.js on library. Wow. Sublime is a tad sluggish right now. View showing. So when did I add some event handlers? Let's see the original patch where I landed this. So I didn't add a custom event handler. It looks like there's a built-in pre-existing event handler, and I'm just, I added a condition to check whether or not it was the library view. And I think we use this library view elsewhere to make sure it's initialized. And view showing. Except why? Because like it's like we don't really do anything with this event listener without this. We do have ensure library initialized. And that's whenever we show a subview. View ID is not, or view node is not initialized. What do we do with the library view? I don't know if there's anything we need to do with it being initialized. We can probably remove this because there's nothing that we're doing anymore. Okay, so we can actually get rid of this as well. Panel UI. Yeah, we can get rid of all of this infrastructure. Woo! That's nice. That's nice. Okay, so let's get rid of the event listener for library view. Let's get rid of this handler. Don't need it. We don't need this anymore. And then on library showing, we don't need this anymore. And what this was doing is it was getting the toolbar button inside the library panel, which is, I guess, the definition of whatever library view was library view. On library showing, this library view equals view node, where view node is the thing that has app menu library view as the ID. So it's very circuitous, but basically it tells us that there's this thing that has these things, and we're going to get rid of the subview iconic class for each of these nodes. Easy peasy. So app menu, view cache, library view. Don't need subview button iconic anymore. All right, let's take a quick peek. Make sure it looks right. The other thing we can do is I'm going to actually do mock build faster than mock watch in a separate shell. And that means that we don't have to keep doing build every time. Oh, good. Thank you for executing mock run, even though I forgot to use the N. That's very handy. Okay, so library. I have to put that in my, whoops. Do I? Oh, whoopsie daisy. I forgot to remove this call, so the panel is broken. So get rid of that. Don't need to build again because we're using mock watch. Just restart. And the library is here. Looks right. Functions correctly. Huzzah. That's the first one. So we can actually do this in multiple waves. We'll do in multiple commits. HG commit bugs such and such. Remove subview button iconic from library panel markup. And maybe Molly would be interested in reviewing this one too. Scooby-Doo. All right, so that's the first one. Where were some other places where we were using this removing of the subview button iconic class? So here's another one. Browser places. Inside of a panel menu view, on view showing, bookmark UI, on view showing, on panel, on view showing of what? View showing, panel view. What are we adding? The event listener to is panel UI bookmarks. I see. So here's another one where we've got all these subview iconics that we're going to get rid of. Excellent. we can just straight do that now. So let's go into browser places. Sub view button iconic. We can remove the, yeah, let's do that. And the place that we want to get rid of it is panel UI bookmarks. So subview button iconic, don't want it here. Don't want it here. In fact, let's highlight all of the places where we see subview button iconic. All right, get rid of that. And this was still inside bookmarks, right? Yes. So we're gonna get rid of it here. Cool. And now let's restart the browser and take a look at the bookmarks menu. Looks right. Looks right. And I'm pretty sure yeah, we get the icons here, and that's intentional. We want to be able to show icons for the actual places that you might have bookmarked, but not for the other items. So we're in good shape there. I think we can commit this. Let's take a look at the patch again. Bug. Whoops. And I just realized I need to assign this to myself. Oh, yeah. Assign it to myself. And then create a note for it. Oh, not a task. Jeez. I never want to create a task. Evernote, come on. Why are you trying to be anything but a note-taking tool? Don't do that. Okay. I can actually start taking some to-dos here. What the heck? Is that what a task looks like now? Okay, good. All right. What was I saying? Okay, so we got rid of the one inside of panelui.js. We've got one inside of browserplaces.js. So this one's done. This one's done. And then where are the other hits? There were browsersync.js, a couple inside of customizable widgets.jsm, and I think that's it. So we'll leave this one to the end because there's two in there. Let's do browser sync next. But first I gotta commit this work. And it's nice if I can have like a consistent commit message for each of these. What was my most recent commit message? What did I say? I said remove subview button iconic. Okay. Remove subview button iconic from bookmarks panel. And we'll have Marco review that one. And did I say class? Or I should probably say class. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to update our commit messages using histedit. We're going to update the messages in both of these, which Mercurial will let me do after it thinks about it for a little bit. Okay, remove subview button icon class from library panel markup. Yep. And then shubop badop class. You know what? Based on the velocity that we're doing this work with, because this is like manual work. This is not like, there's not a whole lot of problem solving going on here. This is like pulling weeds. which is fine. Sometimes that's what programming is. It's just, you know, doing the maintenance and pulling weeds and paying down technical debt. We're not really investigating bugs. We're just improving the maintainability of the code, and actually a little bit of performance, because all of this work we don't have to do anymore. This is all, this dynamic removal of these classes. This is work and DOM modifications that we only needed because we wanted to support both cases, and now we don't anymore. So browser sync. That's where it's being added. Here's where we want to get rid of it, where it's being removed. Here, yeah. It's just this one place, right? On line 896. Yes. Okay. So this is from the FXA menu panel, which is the thing that has this ID. There are a couple things with subview button iconic, right? Yeah, this one. This one, a few others in here. Okay, so we're going to get rid of those. All right, so let's start by getting rid of this block here. And then inside of app menu view cache, we're going to find panel UI FXA. Then we're going to look for subview button iconic in here. And we're just going to get rid of each one. Happy little deletions. Happy little deletions. Happy little deletions. And that's it. Now, before we continue, I noticed in a couple of places we were adding the subview button iconic class, and I don't think we need to do that here. Proton app menus enabled. This will always be true, otherwise this. So we can get rid of this rule. If sign-in item class item contains subview button, show an icon if we were opened in the page action panel. When we add the send, what is this? The sign into sync button. Just above the learn more item. What does this do? Sign into FXA. Create device node. Show an icon if opened in the page action panel. Well, there is no page action panel anymore. The sign-in item class list contains subview button. When would it do that? When in create device node, I guess. Node function, which is a function that we pass. Oh man, this is a little circuitous. Create device node function, which comes from populate send tapped devices menu. And wait, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if not, then we're going to create a default item, create a default function, And it doesn't create one with a send device pop-up. I don't think there's a case anymore where... Oh, I'm wrong. Populate send tab to devices view. If not name item. I do think we want these to still have iconic, because yeah, we want these icons in here, which makes sense. But here, unconfigured, append send tab unconfigured. Status is status not configured. That's when we're like logged in, but sync is not configured, right? What does that look like? Let me, hang on. Let me get my test account going here. Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo. All right, and now I have to get my email for it. All right, so I'm configured. If I turn off sync, two-step connected services, like, how do I turn off sync? Connected services. Okay. But like, how do I disable sync? Syncing is on. How do I turn sync off? Like this? Syncing is on. How do I make sync off? I don't know if I can do that. Is there a way I can turn sync off? Manage devices. Status not configured. Default state is status not configured. How would I, like, how do I make this thing say syncing is off? Prefs syncing on. Is that a pref that I can flip? Yeah, pref syncing off. When does it say that? Sync not configured. Oh man. How do I enter that state? Maybe there's a pref I can flip. Like if I go to config, sync, services sync. Is there like a sync enabled? Ah, nope. Sync, services sync. How do I disable it? How do you get into the state where client not configured? Try logging in. It won't work because we're not configured yet. Oh, maybe I need to be signed out? Well, that can't be right. We're not configured yet. Force initial state, reset sync. What is service status service? Yeah, can we get, what state am I in right now? Sync or FXA status? No, UI state. How do I figure out what state I'm in right now? Weave.status. Client not configured. So I'm in that state. I'm in the not configured state. So I can't even access the panel at this point. So I'm not entirely certain when you actually show this. Like, populate send tab to devices menu. Like, I guess if I like right click send, share, open, you know, we don't even show that menu. I don't think this makes sense anymore. There are two places where we populate this menu. That's the context menu of where is this? The browser context menu, presumably someplace, what is it? Browser context. Yeah, in the content area. So like if you choose a link or something in here, but we don't show it's hidden by default until link to device, show item, should hide send context menu items, only show the send context menu items when sending would be possible. So like we would never be in that state. So that's one. And the other one, where's the other one? Other place where we call this? Context send page and context send link to device and context send page. What's the difference? Send page to device. Oh, you know what? I think I know what the difference is. Like if I'm on a page, I'll show you. I have sync set up here. So I'm on this page. I can right click this and I can send this page to a device. And then if I right click on a link, I can choose to, well, that's not actually a link, I don't think. I need an actual link. This is a link. I can send this link, what I'm linking to a device. I see. But neither of those things show up if I'm not signed in. I go here. Yeah, the item does not show up. The item does not show up. So I actually don't think this case is valid anymore. So I think we can get rid of it. So what we can do, populate send tab to devices menu. The only status not handled yet is status not configured, and actually this should probably just be like this. When we're in that state, none of the menus that call such and such are available. So we can ignore this case. Is it better to ignore or better to throw? Maybe we should throw. So entering this state is unexpected. Oh, new error. Called such and such when in status not configured state. And we'll break that up over a couple lines. All right. So we can get rid of this entire function. Great. Now, was there anything else that was using subview button iconic in here? This one made sense because we're like, we want to add the iconic class for like the individual items for like the devices, because we show like a little laptop icon or a mobile device icon, and that's the only one. So I think we're good. I think we're in good shape. Hey, not bad. Bug. Oh, here, let's use a more general, or let's use the consistent commit message. Remove subview button iconic class usage from Firefox or FXA panel R equals mark H. Now I'm saying usage because we didn't use, I should say like remove most subview button iconic class usage. And upon reflection, I might want to expand a little bit in the commit message about some of those other removals. So let me actually do commit amend, and we're going to update this commit message with some more information. Ooh. And we have some cleanup to do in there. And why didn't I include the bug number somehow? It's wild. All right. This also removes code that handled the case where a send tab or send link to device menu needed to be populated when in the not configured state. What was it called? Not configured. Status not configured state. Since it's no menus that need since those menus are now unavailable when in the status not configured state, since those matters now, we throw instead. Our assumed should be we throw instead. Yeah. Sounds right. Now, what's this cleanup thing? Line 881 of browser sync. Apparently, we never use this, so we can get rid of that now. What we should do is run our browser sync tests, because I know that panel is pretty rigorously tested with automation, and we should double check to make sure. Oh, yeah, thanks. SmurfD pointed out that I need to include the bug number, and thank you for catching that. Sorry, I haven't really been paying attention to the chat, and I should have been. Mock Moki test. Here is the set of tests, and we'll run it with headless so that we don't have to watch it all flash around. Let me see if I can try and catch up with the chat. One less for loop is better than an extra for loop. You betcha. State equals confused. Yeah, that's me, all right. That's the state I'm usually in. If I was a finite state machine, the current circle I would generally be in, my default state is confused. Hey, all right, we passed. So we did the right thing, I think. We didn't break anything, break any assumptions anyways that we had tests for. Okay, so there's really just two left, both inside of customizable widgets. Let's see if we can clear that out in the next 10 minutes, and then we can end on time. If you have any questions that you want to ask me, by the way, about Firefox, engineering, software development, go ahead and drop them in the Twitch chat. Maybe I can get to a couple of those before the end of the stream. And if you are watching this stream right now, maybe you're watching the recording, and so there's not a live. The Twitch chat isn't live, and you can't ask questions. You can always ask questions inside this Rate This Episode form. There's a section there where you can ask questions, and I'll try and answer them during the next stream. So you can drop in some questions if you want into the chat, and if the stream is over, send them into this Rate This Episode form, and I will do my best to answer your questions. Answer your questions if I have the answers, because sometimes I don't have all the answers. All right, so there's this two places where we do this. Let's look at the first one. This is also sync related. Oh, the remote tabs. This is somewhat sync related. There's this remote tabs menu. So we can pull that up. I don't know if remote tabs is... where is it? Remote tabs. Sync tabs right here. Right. So you have to be signed in to see it. So we'll sign in. Okay. And now here, whoopsie daisy, I have to connect another device in order to get in there. Well, at any rate, I think I can do this work manually. Because if there are going to be any devices in there, we want to remove subview iconic from them, I think. Let's take a look at the view itself and see what's in there. The actual node. The sync now, but yeah, all of these. So let's get rid of this. And actually I'm going to add another device. Do I have my phone on me? I do. What is a thing I can connect? I think I have an instance of Firefox Nightly that I can connect. Right? Is this thing syncing? Hold up. All right. Hang on. No, I shouldn't have shown you that. Here, hang on. Let me do a different one. I don't want you to accidentally start syncing my stuff. Even though this is a test account. All right. So how do I add this device? Settings. Okay. There we go. Now this device is connected. I'm approving this device. Okay. So now I should be able to open the synced tabs list. All right. And this one I have to sync as well, I think. Oh, it's syncing right now. So give it a second. Hope there's nothing embarrassing on this. Okay, just give me a quick second. I don't think there is anything. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is some old tabs. But anyway, check them out. This is what I was looking at in this old instance of Firefox, like Doors of Durin. And I was looking at the 2020 election results and some critique of Ontario's lockdown. At any rate, this is the stuff that I think we want to remove the icon, the subview button iconic from. So we can get rid of this rule. And sorry, what was it was panel view, which is panel UI remote tabs. So we're going to get rid of this subview button iconic. And manage devices, subview button iconic. Was there any others? Nope, that's it. Sync not ready. Send tab to device. All right. So I think that covers it. And then that covers it for customizable widgets, the first part. And then the other part was down here. Now here's some usage where we're doing it for what subview? History panel. And it makes sense to panel viewer, subview button, footer button, restore all. If element contains restore all item. This is the history panel menu. Let's open that up real quick. History. Oh, it's right here. Again, hopefully there's nothing embarrassing. Looks good. Okay. Reopen all tabs. Is that restore all item? And that adds the subview button iconic. Should we have a subview button iconic there? Let's open up the toolbox. All right, so I'm going to get rid of subview button iconic here. I don't think we need it at all. Hold up. Let me put it back. This icon is being hidden. I think we can get rid of this rule. Restore all item. Because instead, what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this subview button iconic. Yeah, okay. So let's find where this rule is. Panel UI on Mac OS for some reason. Which one is this? Is this Mac OS? I don't know which one I'm at. I've got this panel in the way. Hold up. Mac OS. Here we go. Okay, we're going to get rid of that. And we are going to get rid of that. And bookmark items. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, this just wants it to be prettier. Bookmark items, we actually do want to have subview button iconic on it because, again, like bookmark items, you want to show the fav icons. So that's why they have that space. Okay. So we got rid of the class and we got rid of that rule that was overriding the class. So that's good. That's good work there. And then lastly, there was the removal, this thing. And this is for the view history panel menu. So we're going to get rid of some subview button. Here we go. Here's the ID. Subview button iconic. In here. Cool. Yep, there's another one. Cool. Yeah, there's probably a faster way of doing this. Relax. Cool. Get rid of that. And show more. Great. And that was the last one. And then we can get rid of... Did I already get rid of it? No, I didn't. I can get rid of it here. And now we will restart the browser. Looks good to me. Hey. Now, is that aligned correctly? Actually, that does not look aligned correctly. Reopen all tabs. Why is that spaced slightly differently? There's this other rule in here, panel UI.css. Why is that rule in here? For, oops, restore all item toolbar button text. Yeah, all right. I'm getting rid of this rule. Panel UI inc.css. We don't need that rule anymore because it's not subview button iconic anymore. We don't need that. That's going to fix the alignment there. Manage history. Reopen all tabs. Looking good. Looking good, folks. So that, I think, is going to do it. This is getting rid of some Customizable, what is it? Remove. Oh man, hang on. What was the exact phrasing I used? Remove subview icon class. Class from history and what was the other one? There were two places that I just modified. It was the history and synced tabs. History again. Did I do diff twice? What happened here? Synced tabs, widgets, panels. I'll have Heist look at that. Window is assigned a value but never used in customizable widgets, so it's another thing we can get rid of. Line 458. Hooray. Amend. All right, let's see if there are any questions in the document. Slowly getting to the 2 millionth bug report. That's right. I wonder what the most recent bug number is. Let's see if we can find, are we in the 1.8 millions yet? 1, 2, 3, 4. Not yet. Let's see if we're in the 179s. Nope. Are we in the 178s? Nope. 177. Wait a second. Do I have too many zeros here? I might have too many zeros. No, I've got enough zeros. It's just that we are still a couple 100,000 off. We're slowly creeping up there. Give it a couple of maybe a year or so, and we might crack the 2 million mark, and that's going to be a milestone. Someone was at SureShack55 was asking if this is, I'm presuming you're talking about this, if this is XML. And then you were talking about using Command D and having multiple cursors. Yeah, I think I can do that. Oh, that's cool. So if I like choose subview button and do Command D, Command D, you can press Command D for multiple cursors. So like finds the next one. So, oh, I see. And I keep like finding them. And now I've got multiple. Oh, that's kind of cool. Hey, thank you, SureShack. That's neat. So, okay. So here's a cool trick in Sublime. And maybe this is true in VS Code and all your favorite editors. And who knows, maybe even Vim or Pico. Select some text. And in my case, I've got a keyboard with a Windows button, but I'm on Mac. So that's mapped to the Apple button. And I hit Apple D. And I can do that any number of times. It finds a copy, and it doesn't have to be like an exact whole word copy. It can be a subsection. And what it does is it highlights every single copy like one at a time. And then for each one, I'm given a cursor. So I could like start deleting each of these. Wild. Okay, I'm undoing that, but that's pretty cool. Thank you for showing me that, SureShack55. I don't know if I'm going to be able to work that into my workflow, but maybe. That's pretty cool. So yeah, it was history, remote tabs, and that was it. So I'm going to post this all up for review and see what the world thinks. Hey, I think we're going to call it here. Thank you so much for watching episode 200 and what was it? 253 of The Joy of Coding. I hope you enjoyed that. I thought that was pretty productive. You know, we didn't do a whole lot of like problem solving and investigation, deep dive, but this was what I consider sort of like the real sort of, down in the trenches, maintenance, technical debt work of just like, okay, we're going to remove this old class. We're going to remove this old function. We're going to find dead code. We're going to find stuff that doesn't make sense anymore. This is good. It's not exciting work. It's not work that like users are not going to feel anything I just did. In fact, it is a problem if users are able to notice anything that I just did, because that meant that behavior changed. Really, this is more of like a cleanup. It's all behind the scenes cleanup that users should not feel. Like, if anything, the only way they could feel it is if for some reason there's a performance improvement. And yes, there will be a performance improvement from this. We're removing work. We're getting out of the way. But I would imagine that the amount of cycles we're freeing up are imperceivable. But who knows? On slower machines, you never know. But for the most part, this was not exciting, flashy new feature restyling work, but it's still good stuff. Maintenance matters. Paying down technical debt matters. Cleaning up your code matters, even if your users don't feel it. It's paying dividend. It pays dividends down the line because it makes your code more maintainable, easier to read, easier for other people to hack on and learn, and keeps it more current. The last thing you want is a stagnant piece of code that no one who's working on it understands anymore because it's old and no one touches it. So it's kind of like keeping the air flowing through it. You got to keep it fresh. It's like food in the fridge. You got to make sure it's fresh. You don't want it to rot. All right. Well, thanks again for watching episode 253 of Thank you again for watching episode 253 of The Joy of Coding. Let me know what you thought. Go ahead and smash that rate this episode button in the agenda, and you can let me know what you thought of the episode, and you can ask me questions, and next time I'm here, I will try and answer them. Oh, I should point out, there's no new episode next week. Sorry about that, but next week I'm away. So there's no new episode next week, but I will be back the week after. But go ahead and send those questions in, and I will check them out. So thanks again. Have yourselves a great couple weeks. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.